Okay, we are back. This time, you are watching me, and I'm not just needing lip readers to be watching. Sorry about that. The previous live we did on time. I talked for 12 minutes and nobody could hear me. So, my apologies. Let's jump right into Shockwave. Um, so, who should be watching this video? Well, anybody who wants to potentially benefit from this thing called Shockwave. So, Shockwave has many different forms. Today, we are going to be talking about a few of the different forms. So, whether you are a prospective patient that could get benefits from Shockwave, this will be helpful for you. Or you are a potential doctor who is looking to see whether they should bring Shockwave into their office, or maybe you already have Shockwave in your office, but you don't really fully know about the different types of Shockwave. This could be beneficial for you as well. So let's start off with what was Shockwave originally used and designed for. And it was designed to break up kidney stones. So we're not going to be talking about shockwaves that are going to be breaking up kidney stones because that is not the type of doctor that I am. But we will be talking about the pros and cons of different types of the shockwave technology and what offices that you would be most likely to see those types in, and the necessity of what type of shockwave is best for one office versus another office. So let's start with the whole premise, like, why shockwave? What is shockwave? How did shockwave move from breaking up kidney stones to it's becoming more of a thing in helping with pain and healing for musculoskeletal conditions? So, the main premise that we're going to be talking about on this video is for musculoskeletal conditions, and getting into areas that no other technology and not our human hands can get to. So, it is really cool if you're someone who's dealing with knee pain, shoulder pain, plantar fasciitis, Achilles issues, elbow issues, wrist issues, excuse me, like carpal tunnel, SI issues, sciatica. There is so many reasons why shockwave could be a potential benefit for you. And those are from a pain perspective. Maybe you're looking to just improve performance, and shockwave technologies has been used to really help people recover faster in things like sports and other industries where they are looking to heal faster, as well. So what are the different types of shockwave? We're going to start with the most commonly used in the musculoskeletal area for many years now, which is radial shockwave, and explain the differences between radial shockwave and what we call focus shockwave. So, radial shockwave, like I said, has been used with a lot of success. And radial shockwave does penetrate deeper than most technologies, and definitely than the human hands can go in the musculoskeletal department. And there is tons of very affordable radial shockwave pieces of equipment out there. So that's one of the reasons it's the most common, is the type of technology is the most affordable. So I like to describe radial shockwave versus focus shockwave in this type of manner. So when we are to throw a rock into a lake or an ocean or wherever body of water we're talking about, and we throw the rock in, it makes a ripple effect, right? So that ripple effect is more like what the radial shockwave does. It's more broad. So it goes to a spot, but then it's spread out. Now it gets deeper than some of these other technologies, but it doesn't get super deep into the soft tissues and into things like ligaments, tendons, joints. So, with that being said, it still gets really tremendous benefit from things like plantar fasciitis and carpal tunnel and shoulder injuries and knee injuries and chronic and acute conditions. Also, with the radial shockwave, it's a different type of shockwave. Some scientists would argue that it's not even specifically a shockwave, which again, we're not in a conversation to get into those types of arguments. I just want you to understand what's going on if you're a doctor or a patient. And so there's a ballistic type of approach that sends this shockwave type of feature that, again, doesn't get real specific. It gets broad, but it gets deeper than a lot of other technologies, and it causes healing to start taking place. So, with this radial type of shockwave, it is something that you can look up and you can find a local practitioner that does different types of shockwave. And that is one form of the shockwave treatment. Now, the other form is a focus shockwave. That's the form that was used to break up kidney stones and can penetrate really, really deep, because instead of it just going in, it's more like you had a fishing line and you threw it in. And let's say, for starters, we had a bobber with a weight on it, and you set the depth of penetration to a certain depth. That is some of these forms of focused shockwave. It can get different depths. And then also, let's say we have a fishing line and we don't have a bobber in it, so it goes all the way to the bottom. Why? Well, at the bottom of the lake, there's certain type of fish that you're trying to attract. Like if you're bass fishing, that's usually where the bass hang out, and you want to then use your fishing line to kind of lure them out of this area, right? Whereas if you're fishing with a bobber and a hook and bait on the end, you're trying to draw the fish up to this area so you don't have to get as deep. Now, I'm no expert fisherman. I'm just trying to get you to visualize there's even different levels of how deep of penetration a focused shockwave can give. And so I'm going to go over a couple of the different technologies and what that can do. So why am I interested in shockwave? Well, I started hearing about different types of shockwave, and there's a lot of confusion from a patient and a doctor's perspective of different type of shockwave. So first, I wanted to understand pros and cons, and there's pros and cons to each different type, and then maximum benefits on different types of shockwave. So we're talking radial, now we're talking focused. And a focused shockwave, again, can be more specific and go into one location. So with the radial shockwave, also we give out this disperse. So patients might take that and how that feels differently than the focus, but also for practitioners. So if we're trying to figure out exactly where inflammation or where scar tissue is or where your biggest problem is, if we have it where it's only targeting a very small area, we can tell with more accuracy what area we're treating than when it's spreading out over a variety of the tissue. So one of the things that I found very fascinating about using a focused shockwave is it can help us zero in, like let's say we're going around a knee. What specific tendon, what specific area? And a lot of times with pain, us doctors that do this on a frequent basis probably know this more than patients, but patients that have experienced it know they might have a pain in one area, but it's coming from somewhere else. And so this allows us to figure out, where is this pain coming from? And is it correlated? Pain is in the same spot of where we're actually feeling this machine work the most, because it is helping to heal the body in that area. And it's doing a direct micro traumas to those areas to exponentially speed up healing in the ligaments, the tendons, and actually it can even help bones to heal faster as well. And the cool part is treatments on a shockwave take on average 5 to 10 to 15 minutes max, but on average 5 to 8 minutes. And we notice results right away, meaning the majority of patients have a huge symptom improvement just after one treatment. Now, to get this problem fixed, if it was a chronic issue, then it might take 6, 8, 10, 12, 10 or 12 visits, ideally, to get the patient where the pain is sometimes all the way gone, but many times like an 80 or 90% improvement in the pain, and it's improving their function and it's improving the healing of that area. So if you're working with other things like physical therapy, like chiropractic, joint in the orthopedic world, we're getting these areas to actually work better. If you're an athlete, it's getting them where they can function more fully. It can perform better. It can have less pain and discomfort, but yes, better performance. So now let's talk about different types of focus shockwave. So there's different types of electricity. So we use electricity with a wave that creates this acoustic sound wave that penetrates deep into the tissue. So one form is a piezoelectric, and there's a company that makes this type of focus shockwave, and it penetrates much deeper than a radial shockwave. Just in comparison, you can look at some of these studies like piezo versus radial. It just penetrates a lot deeper, and it has a more narrow than a radial shockwave does. But there's some downsides on piezoelectric based on the components that you're using and based on the depths that you're setting, and how much the technology is, right? So it's more than radial. So now piezo is more of a price range, but huge benefits, faster patient results with this focused shockwave too on many conditions. Not all, again, there's pros and cons to both. Now, the next is what we call electromagnetic. That's the type of device that I'll have in my office. And full disclosure, that's the type of device that if you're interested in getting a really good bang for your buck, so to speak, and getting a device that works really well, but is a lot more affordable than some of the other focused shockwaves on the market, we have that. And we love to help people with that. It also comes with ways to help explain to patients, ways to help learn yourself, and ways to share with people so people can start getting the benefits of this great type of technology we have in the office. So, what's electromagnetic? Well, it uses a different type of a way of getting the electricity into the shockwave. And what we found with the electromagnetic is there's just one component that eventually will wear out, but you only have to replace that one component, where a lot of the other technologies, you're replacing them more often. And the electromagnetic, so we got radio, we got piezoelectric, and electromagnetic penetrates even deeper than the piezoelectric does. So we can get more focused and we can penetrate the depths to different levels, but it can go deeper than the piezoelectric. And now the one that penetrates the deepest is our electrohydraulic. And there is a couple of type of technologies that do electrohydraulic. They're usually those that people might see on Facebook or different types of um, marketing things that are more out there. Now, with this type, it does penetrate. There's radio, there's piezo, there's electromagnetic, and it does penetrate even a little bit deeper than the electromagnetic. But that type of technology is costing 2, 3, 4x what the piezo or the electromagnetic technology is costing us. And more importantly, from a chiropractic PT perspective, and from pain relief perspective, it's not needed to penetrate that deep. There's only certain fields that need to penetrate that deep. Like again, if you're breaking up kidney stones, you need to penetrate deeper. They use the electrohydraulic. If you're someone who's working in urology and these type of fields, you might need an electrohydraulic depending on what you're trying to do with your patients. But for those of us that are doing more musculoskeletal conditions, then this electromagnetic machine is absolutely wonderful. So starting to get some questions is now, how effective is shockwave therapy compared to other treatments for similar conditions? Well, that's the amazing part. I have never seen such fast, immediate results with instant, literally within the treatment. They're already starting to feel some major benefits and major differences. And then the other cool part is you don't need treatments close together. Treatments should be about 7 days apart. And then you're having 10 or 12 treatments and having crazy fast results. And not just having, again, a lot of things that happen quickly for pain relief um, aren't helping to heal the problem. So you're getting the short term relief without any long term benefits. This gives you a great combination of some instant gratification with the delayed gratification of actually healing and improving function in the area. How can patients typically expect to see results after the beginning of the shockwave? Like how quickly? Like literally, if it's an acute condition, you might only need 1 or 2 treatments, sometimes just one, right? If it's a chronic condition, which is what people usually come and take their time and spend their money for, it can take more time. But again, not a huge area of time. What type of conditions or injuries is it used for? Ligaments, tendons, bones, soft tissue, muscles, sciatic issues, plantar fasciitis, Achilles tendons, elbow, carpal tunnel type of things, um, neck and spine type of things. It is used for a variety of different things. But for that nagging thing that you haven't got help with, a knee injury, an ankle injury, a shoulder injury, it's been amazing to me how we could try a whole bunch of other types of therapies. But when we try this shockwave, it takes it to a whole nother level. Are there side effects and discomfort associated with the therapy? Well, Side effects, again, it's depending on the patient. There's certain things we have to screen for and make sure that you can do the treatment safely and effectively. Um, is there discomfort? Are you going to feel things? Yeah, we educate you. You will feel discomfort in the area that we're helping to improve, there will be a discomfort. Now, we keep it within a tolerable range, but you will feel it because it is actually making a direct impact. So, a lot of people tend to like that because they know something is happening when we are fixing things. Where in the health industry, it's not always that where you'll feel when a change is being made. With shockwave therapy, you will feel it. If you're someone that cannot handle any discomfort, then this therapy isn't for you. But if you're someone who can handle up to a 7 out of 10, a lot of times a lot less than that, this type of technology is awesome for you. How many sessions and what are optimum? Again, sessions last 5 to 15 minutes. And if it's an acute thing, 1 or 2 treatments might be good. But generally speaking, for anything chronic that's been there for any period of time, 6 months or greater, at least 6 visits, but on average 10 or 12 visits. And then we could do something where it is keeping it healthy if it's a chronic condition caused by your everyday wear and tear, where we might do it once every 6 months to keep it in tip top shape and keep the pain from coming back. Um, can shockwave therapy complement other treatments like physical therapy, certain medications, surgeries, chiropractic? It can be combined with cold laser. So, shockwave can be and is very effective to be used with other therapies to maximize its use, but it's not essential that you use it with other therapies. It's like I have right behind me here red light, blue light, infrared panel. So, if we're doing shockwave to an area, and then doing this panel to help us recover with the inflammation and the micro traumas that we're creating, it would enhance the shockwave with less pain and less discomfort afterwards. Um, is there any pre or post treatment needed to enhance the effectiveness? Again, you don't have to, but we always like to help you heal the fastest as practitioners. So, again, icing it down afterwards, doing things like red light, doing things like cold therapies, um, doing cold laser therapies can help us recover faster and be able to heal faster with less pain and less discomfort. There is contraindications for shockwave therapy. Those I would have you understand and go to. That's why this got to be a practitioner. And it's case by case specific. Right off the bat, we're not going to be doing it with people that have any type of like pacemakers or defibrillators. We're not going to be doing it on pregnant patients. And we're not going to be doing it right over areas that have specific like metals and screws and things like that. Uh, what safety measures are in place to ensure patient safety during the treatment? And again, using it in a place. Unfortunately, I've heard some people that have bought units and try and use them from home. But again, like any medical device, first of all, it is just beneficial to know even amount of treatments. So this person I knew was using the shockwave way too often and it was not helping. And in many terms, it was creating certain areas that they were using on their body to become worse. So the best is to have a trained professional, someone who's a healthcare expert that can use it best for your body. Um, how easy it is it for practitioners to implement? It was actually way easier than I thought. Why? Because us as healthcare practitioners, we know the health of the body. If you're someone who's already dealing in the musculoskeletal area, it's just you're using how this particular technology relates to all the things that you already know and how it can improve your outcomes, patient results, and care, and do things that you never thought that you could help patients with. Um, what is the average cost? Well, it's different. Is it covered by insurance? Generally speaking, it's not covered by insurance. In some states, it's covered if there's like auto or PI. In other states, it's not. And I think in most states it is. In Michigan, it is where I practice. But for everyone else, it is a cash based service. And we have found that people that have paid for it have been so happy with that they paid for it and are happy to pay for it more. And I've known patients who have sought it out in other areas because not being able to get a shockwave, they are so wanting to buy it and have it, they'll travel for this type of technology. The average cost varies. I'm hearing doctors charge on average from $150 to $300 a treatment. In my office, we try and keep it a little bit more affordable. But like most things, the prices range. You can get a steak for $5. You can get a steak for $500. Now, sometimes it's dependent on the quality of the steak, and other times it just depends on where you get it and when you get it. Are there programs or options available to make shockwave therapy more accessible to a wider range of? It depends on the office again. So in my office, we do have different types of options, different types of programs. We try and keep it more affordable than the average doctor's office, so patients can have access to these awesome technologies. Um, this person, I recently had a knee replacement. My muscles, quads, IT bands are very tight. Could Shockwave help the repair the muscles without interfering with the knee replacement? Again, so Shockwave can be used on areas as long as it is not directly over areas. So things that are getting tight or having problems that are above and below the replacement, it can be used on. It cannot be used on areas where we have the actual metal replacement, screws, rods, not to be used over those areas. So, in summary, shockwave can be, again, it's got to be done appropriately. It depends on your case. It can help with a lot of things. For doctors, it can help you solve a lot of your patients' chronic problems that maybe you've had 10, 20, 30% improvement, which for some people can be life changing, right? When we get a 50% plus improvement, man, people are just blown away. This type of technology can help you, doctors, in getting those type of results. And for out there that feel like hopeless or like they've tried all these things and they haven't gotten the results they're looking for, look into a focus shockwave, a radial shockwave. Again, I'd be happy to get onto a DM, a call, and really would only take a couple minutes to describe to a doctor or to a patient exactly what the benefits are to the different types of technologies and which ones are more affordable and comes with the best performance for your dollar. So, generally speaking, as a patient's perspective, I'm not seeing a huge price range difference between whether it is a radial or a focused shockwave. Um, but from a practitioner's perspective, the equipment definitely has a huge range, um, anywhere from $5,000 from some of the cheapest radial shockwaves that I've seen out there, maybe even a little cheaper than that, up to 80 or $100,000 for some of these more expensive type of focus shockwaves. And happy to give feedback, pros and cons, and let you make the best decision for you, your practice, and your patients. And I just hope this was helpful for doctors, for patients. I'm seeing people that are just really enjoying this type of technology on both perspectives. The patients, of course, which is most important, any technology that's going to work is going to be having patients excited, lined up, and ready to try it out. And of course, from a practitioner's perspective, there's so much that's out there, and some of it works and some of it doesn't work. And it can be frustrating, but I have seen these technologies that I am now implementing in my office. And I'm not someone who loves to use technology because, like today, tried to go Facebook Live, sorry, YouTube Live here. And my laptop wasn't picking up on the sound. So I went Facebook Live silent for 12 minutes. So I apologize to any of you that had to turn that on. Hopefully, this was super helpful for you. And looking forward, if you want to go on Healthier Tomorrow, the number 4u.com, it has a link where you can directly schedule a 10-minute consultation with myself or one of my teammates. And if this was helpful for you here, let's help educate people on what Shockwave is for and how it can help many people, whether you're in another state, another country, or wherever you're at. If you've had Shockwave experiences, good, bad, or indifferent, please share, let us know, DM us. The whole idea is to help people get better health outcomes, and every little bit can help. I hope everyone has a great weekend if you're watching this live here or today, as today is Friday with our Healthier Fridays. We will be on from 1 to 1:30, technology working, a little delayed if it's not, on Fridays moving forward. Thank you so much for all of that engaged. And everyone have a great one. If you're watching this after it's been aired, again, reach out. Love to help in any way possible. Have a great one.